Most people didn't even realize Sydney Sweeney was engaged, and that's exactly how she wanted it. While her career was exploding with roles in Euphoria and The White Lotus, Sydney managed to keep her love life out of the spotlight. No flashy red carpet appearances. No attention-grabbing PDA. Just the occasional blurry paparazzi snap with a man most fans couldn't name. That man? Jonathan Davino, a low-key Chicago-based businessman and restaurateur, 13 years her senior. No Hollywood credits, no social media thirst traps, no drama. On paper, he was the opposite of the chaotic industry Sydney was breaking into, and maybe that's why it worked. For a while. The two were first linked in 2018, when Sydney was still on the rise. But despite years of being spotted together, they kept things under wraps. No official engagement announcement ever came. In fact, it wasn't until she started casually rocking a diamond ring in 2022 that people began connecting the dots. And even then, silence. No wedding talk, no bridal shoots, not even a cryptic caption. Fans were left guessing, was she really engaged? Was the ring just a fashion choice? Or was Sydney hiding something? Whatever it was, she wasn't offering answers. And as her star rose higher, the relationship stayed exactly where it had always been, in the background. But behind the scenes, things weren't as picture-perfect as they looked. And soon, the internet would start noticing. But the first signs of trouble? They were subtle, until they weren't. At first, the silence seemed intentional, like Sydney was just fiercely private. But by late 2023, that silence started to feel like something else entirely: distance. Fans who'd been casually tracking her appearances noticed something off. The ring? Gone. Her usual +1? Missing. And when she hit red carpets or posted behind-the-scenes pics from film sets, there was zero trace of Jonathan. Theories started circulating. Was the wedding called off? Were they on a break? Had Sydney quietly outgrown the relationship? And it wasn't just fans noticing. Paparazzi coverage thinned out. Celebrity gossip accounts started asking subtle questions. When was the last time we saw these two together? The once routine sightings turned rare, and when they did happen, the body language was different, colder. Less couple, more acquaintances. But Sydney wasn't saying a word. Her Instagram stayed business as usual: magazine covers, movie promotions, photo shoots. Not a single hint of heartache. Still, something wasn't adding up. She'd once said she wanted a partner outside the spotlight. But now, she was fully stepping into it, front and center, solo. Then came the moment that shifted everything, a quiet confirmation that the fantasy might really be over. And when the truth came out, it wasn't just a breakup, it was a reset. It wasn't a dramatic press release. No tell-all interview. No Instagram breakup statement. Just a quiet wave of insider reports that started trickling out in early January 2024. After years of speculation, it was finally confirmed: Sydney Sweeney and Jonathan Davino had split. The breakup didn't make front-page headlines, at first. But for longtime fans, it was like a puzzle piece sliding into place. Suddenly, the missing ring made sense. The solo appearances. The unspoken shift in her energy. All of it pointed to a chapter closing behind the scenes. What really shocked people wasn't the split itself, it was how long ago it had apparently happened. According to sources close to the couple, the two had actually gone their separate ways months earlier, but had chosen to keep it private. Even more confusing? Despite the confirmed split, Sydney and Jonathan were still being spotted together occasionally, taking casual strolls, even grabbing coffee. But insiders were quick to shut down any reunion rumors. According to them, their post-breakup relationship was strictly platonic. It was a rare case in Hollywood, a breakup with no visible bad blood, no legal drama, and no messy fallout, just quiet detachment. Still, the public wanted more. Why did it end? Was it mutual? Who pulled the plug? Sydney wasn't answering any of those questions, yet. But when she finally spoke up, It wasn't heartbreak she was talking about, it was freedom. For months, Sydney Sweeney kept quiet. No confirmation, no commentary, no cryptic tweets. Just a steady stream of glamorous magazine covers and career moves that said, "I'm good." But then came the interview. Speaking to the Times in May 2025, Sydney finally addressed what everyone had been whispering about, and she didn't mince words. When asked about her wedding plans, she simply said, "There aren't any." Then, with a calm confidence that surprised even her fans, she confirmed, she's single. But it wasn't some mopey admission. It was more like a mic drop. "I'm learning a lot about myself," she said. "Spending more time with my friends. And I'm loving it." That phrase, "I'm loving it," hit different. Not doing okay, not moving on. Loving it. Like this wasn't a sad ending, it was a beginning. A soft rebrand. A freedom arc. It was the first time the public really got to see what life post-engagement looked like for Sydney, and spoiler alert. It didn't involve tissues or rom-com marathons. Instead, it was rooftop parties, celeb friend groups, and the kind of radiant, post-breakup glow you can't fake. This wasn't survival mode. It was transformation. And the world was just starting to see what single Sydney really looked like. If you want to know how someone's really doing after a breakup, don't look at their red carpet photos. Look at their karaoke choices. Back in April, a grainy video surfaced online that caught fans off guard. Sydney Sweeney, standing on a makeshift stage at a bar in Key West, holding a mic, eyes closed, absolutely belting out Adele's "Someone Like You." No costume. No performance. Just raw emotion in a Florida karaoke bar. The kind of moment that said, without actually saying it, "Yeah, this breakup hurt." The video went viral instantly. Fans flooded the comments, dissecting every note, every line. "Never mind, I'll find someone like you" suddenly felt like a confession. It was the first real glimpse of heartbreak beneath the polished public image. But Sydney didn't dwell on it. If anything, it was a release, a moment of vulnerability before returning to the spotlight stronger than ever. And then, things got weird. Amid the waves of support, internet chaos did what it does best. Twist the narrative into something no one saw coming. A bizarre meme started spreading: "If you wanted a piece of Sydney now, you'd have to settle for her bathwater." What started as a joke, based on an offhand comment from fans romanticizing her unbothered goddess energy, spiraled into full-on internet absurdity. Comment sections flooded with thirsty takes and fake listings selling Sweeney bathwater like some bizarre pop culture souvenir. It was unhinged. But it was also kind of iconic. Because while the internet was busy obsessing over her every move, Sydney had already moved on. The karaoke heartbreak? Processed. The bathwater memes? Ignored. And while fans were still unpacking the drama, she was packing for Vegas, and her next big shift was already in motion. Before the red carpets, before the Emmy nods, before the headline-making fashion deals, Sydney Sweeney was just a rising actress with a private love life and a low-profile partner. But Hollywood doesn't wait for anyone to catch up. And for Sydney, success came fast. Euphoria turned her into a Gen Z icon overnight. Then came The White Lotus, global campaigns, magazine covers, and blockbuster roles. Suddenly, she wasn't just an actress, she was a brand. And somewhere in the blur of fame, the relationship that had once grounded her started to feel like it belonged to a different version of herself. Jonathan Davino wasn't a bad guy. In fact, most reports describe him as supportive, grounded, and drama-free. But the truth is, he wasn't in the spotlight. He didn't speak the Hollywood language. He wasn't walking red carpets or taking meetings with execs. And as Sydney's schedule filled with shoots, premieres, and press tours, the quiet life they'd once shared probably started to feel like a mismatch. Fans began noticing the disconnect. In interviews, she lit up when talking about work, but dodged anything personal. When she appeared at events alone, the message was subtle but clear: this was Sydney 2.0. The fame didn't just elevate her, it transformed her. And with transformation comes choices. Sometimes, it's not about betrayal or drama. It's about outgrowing something, or someone, that once made sense. And when that happens, the scariest part isn't leaving, it's admitting you've changed. But Sydney didn't run from that truth. She leaned into it, and the next chapter proved just how much she was ready to own it. It didn't take long for Sydney Sweeney's single-girl era to go from whispered rumor to undeniable fact, and her reintroduction to the world came with a neon glow and VIP access. In May, she was spotted partying in Las Vegas, not in the background, not low-key, but front and center with Machine Gun Kelly and Patrick Schwarzenegger, two names known for bringing chaos, charisma, and cameras wherever they go. The images were instant tabloid gold. Sydney laughing, dancing, unapologetically alive. This wasn't the heartbroken ex-fiancé clinging to the past. This was a woman in full control, rebranding herself in real time. Her social calendar wasn't just full, it was curated. From luxury events to celebrity-packed after-parties, Sydney was moving in new circles, with a new energy. No more careful hiding. No more playing it safe. Even her public appearances began to reflect the shift. The outfits were bolder. The roles were edgier. The interviews? Just cryptic enough to keep fans guessing. It was a rebirth, not just as a Hollywood actress, but as a headline maker in her own right. But here's what made it work, it didn't feel forced. It didn't scream, "Look at me, I'm fine." It whispered something more powerful, "I'm just getting started." Sydney wasn't chasing attention. She was attracting it, without trying to prove anything. And as the spotlight followed her into this next phase, one thing became clear: she's not defined by who she dates, she's defined by who she's becoming. In Hollywood, breakups usually come with scandal, damage control, and a PR spin cycle. But Sydney Sweeney's split was different. It wasn't explosive. It wasn't messy. And that's exactly what made it powerful. Because instead of turning the heartbreak into a spectacle, she turned it into momentum. She didn't chase headlines, they followed her. She didn't cry on talk shows, she sang Adele in a dive bar and kept it moving. And when the time finally came to speak, she didn't play the victim. She simply said, "I'm loving it." Those 3 words told you everything you needed to know. This breakup didn't break her. It built her. It carved space for growth, freedom, and reinvention. It let her rediscover herself without apology, as a friend, a creative force, and a woman fully stepping into her prime. And maybe that's the real story here. Not just the end of a relationship, but the start of self-ownership. Sydney Sweeney's love life may have made headlines. But what's really unforgettable is how she turned quiet heartbreak into loud confidence, and never looked back. And as for what's next? Well, she's not saying. But if her recent glow is any clue, she won't just bounce back, she'll level up. If you made it this far, you already know, Sydney's story isn't just about a breakup, it's about a full-blown glow-up. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more untold stories and celebrity deep cuts, and drop a comment below. Do you think Sydney's better off single, or is something bigger coming next? We've got more wild twists, behind-the-scenes drama, and unexpected Hollywood stories coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss them. Until next time, stay curious.